So the intention of this webinar, I always love to share what are the intentions, so you are clear of what are we going to be doing here. So we're going to share information about what is a media kit, and what is it for? What do I need one? And let me tell you, yes, you need one if you don't have it yet. We're going to explain the basic component of that media kit. It is, it's putting together a package, a very nice package to send them to media people, so you can grab their attention and say, and they can say, hey, I like what that lady it's in the Virgin Island is doing with the popsicles, that I may use one now with this hot weather, things like that. So definitely a media kit, it's gonna help you in that endeavor. And of course, in the second hour, in the second part of this workshop, we're gonna do one. Pamela just shared with you via email, and if you haven't received it yet, please write down on the chat your email so she can send you the template that I prepare, a very basic template so we can use it during this part of the workshop. So I'm gonna do one, and hopefully you can do one as well. So you can start after this workshop with something, so you can build on that. So what is a media kit? So again, it's a digital or a printed document. When you go to events, or when we used to go to in-person events, nowadays, of course, even with the pandemic and taking all the safety precautions, we are starting to go into places, but when media events or events of any kind were a thing, you have someone, probably a PR person, who handed to journalists information in this nice, they put together this package with information with the background of the company, or what was the event for, the media release, a media release or press release, may I say, photograph. Others handed you a pen drive with all the information. So nowadays we use a lot the digital press kit. So it has information about your business, your product, who you are, things like that. It is a communication tool that will definitely help you to grab that attention, the attention from editors like me, bloggers, podcasters, even influencers, because when you think about influencers nowadays, they it's not control. Well, they have this community, they have built this community, and they are like a gatekeeper. And so when you grab their attention and they share with their community information about you, that will mean that the outcome could be that you can receive more traffic to your social media, or even push some sales depending where you are, things like that. So do not underestimate influencers when you are putting together your communication plan and putting together your media kit and thinking about who do you think you should send it. Definitely microbloggers should be in that list. In that press kit, you're gonna find all the elements that are necessary to help a communicator, to help a journalist create a story. Maybe that story is only about you and your product, or maybe they are writing a story and they need someone, an expert in certain segment in the agricultural business or in the food industry. And if they have your information handy, they may use it, and they may definitely call you first, because they are not wasting any time looking for someone, if you are in front of them, in the form of a media kit, definitely they're gonna call you first. So be aware of that. So I like to use this analogy when I'm explaining to someone who maybe it is the first time they're hearing the word, media kit. What is that? It's the end product of this dish. You prepare this recipe with so great ingredients. So you serve it to someone and you're hoping that person really like what you serve them. And so they come back for more, they repeat the dish. Well, the thing is that you have to prepare that dish. You have to put together in a pan the essential components, the ingredients, and those ingredients have to be of real quality. So each of the things that I have mentioned, like the press release, for example, the photos, and articles that you put also in your press kit, it has to be well written, it has to be of quality. So when you put together the end product, which is the media kit, it is well served, it is safe, it is delish. So in this case, the journalist says, you know what, this is high quality. I like how this person communicate their information. So yes, I would like to speak to this person. So we're gonna be going and diving into each of the most important parts of a media kit. Why a media kit? Well, again, you're gonna be sharing your message. Probably there's 5-10 people who are doing the same thing that you are doing or producing, but you have something different that makes you special. So that specialty, that message, you have the potential to share with more people, that it's gonna set you apart from the group. Also, it's gonna push sales. That's also why most of the people have a communication strategy. They use Media Kit as a great tool for it, because you can evaluate, after a story is written about you in the paper, which is called the earned media, because you didn't pay for it, and it is written or the interview is in a media outlet that you don't control, like your website or your social media. That is called the earned media. And thanks to a media kit, someone wrote, someone spoke about you. So that could definitely push some sales about your product, because consumers or potential consumers are going to read, are going to listen to, and say, hey, I want to eat that that product, I want to buy that product, or I was thinking about buying a product like that. Now I know where to go, or who to call, who to write. So definitely a media kit can help you with this, and you can track your effort and evaluate if it's something that you say, hey, I'm gonna repeat this, I'm gonna keep doing this as part of my business, as part of my business strategy. It's not just create your product and go to the market. It's everything that you do around it, and how do you communicate that help you sell more. And of course, it's gonna set you apart from the competition. Again, there's so many people who are looking to sell their products, and people just have enough money, limited resources, so they are gonna go after that person, not only that grab their attention, but also, of course, that have a quality product that they like. So this is why a media kit, it's gonna help you. And this is the why that you should start at least tomorrow morning. You should start looking into this information and say, you know what, I just started to do, I started doing the media kit with Perla, and I'm gonna keep doing, I'm gonna keep adding information. So here is the general content that you can find in different kind of media kits. It not necessarily you have to have everything, but you should aspire to. And that will also, the amount of information, the amount of photos or background detail, things like that, are going to depend of the kind of business that you have. It's going to depend your trajectory. So you can find information about your business background, short bios about the founder of the business. Your main team should be part of that media kit. Bullet points, you know, it general information in bullet points about the most relevant things that you don't want people to miss out. You don't want the communicator, the journalist to miss when they are writing about you. Press releases, as I mentioned before, articles. You can write articles ahead about the topic that you are an expert in, and you can have that as, you know, as something, as a backup plan in case someone asks you to collaborate in a magazine, and probably you don't have enough time to sit down and write it and handle it as soon as possible. So when you work in this kind of communication pieces beforehand and you already have it, so that's gonna give you the advantage over other people that may not have it. So you can have their articles, you can have open opinions columns that can be published in the paper, and that and those kind of pieces, article pieces, are gonna help you build your profile. Not only people are gonna know about your product, if it's that the thing that you are trying to push the sales, but also you're gonna start building your profile. You're gonna become in time an authority in that area, because once you start appearing in media, people are gonna start identifying you as the expert on that topic. Maybe you are a beekeeper, maybe you are someone who is in the veggie, you're growing microgreens like our friends in Juanica, and you know, suddenly the paper needs someone to write about what's going on in those kind of area. And if they have already your information, they know about you, they're gonna call you first and they're gonna ask you for your opinion. So you're gonna keep building that reputation, and that definitely helps you to strengthen your business. And of course, you're gonna be selling more, and that's the hope. You're gonna add in this media kit photograph of you, your product. You're gonna add also logos and where are you gonna be selling your products, so you can share your media calendar, where are the events that you are gonna be heading to. So that is the kind of information that you definitely want to include. Sales information. Sometimes there are business reporters that are doing a piece in a particular segment in agriculture, and they're looking for examples. And when you can facilitate them, your experience in sales or how much your segment is doing, that it is something that always interested, media is interested to share about how good is the segment, or if there more, or if is there more opportunity to grow, things like that. So let's start talking about each of some of these elements, components in the media kit, the bullet points. Sometimes we underestimate this piece of paper, and it's something very easy, and I encourage you to start today. You know, you can start like writing down 5 or 10 things about your business, about you. You can do a general bullet points about everything, you know, who founded the business, when it was founded, what are the main products that it sells, or you can be very specific about a certain part of your business, of a brand that you have. But the most important thing is has to be relevant information. Each bullet should be relevant. It is something that is easy to remember. People who works in radio and television, microbloggers, that sometimes when you go into a TV interview, or you have the interviewer in front of you, sometimes you lost it, or you are so aware of the camera that you forget basic things about your business. So having a bullet point in front of you or in your telephone help you remember the relevant things that you don't want people to miss out about it, and also help the journalist that is doing the interview, because they are gonna read it right away. There are gonna be things that they'll definitely gonna remember, and they are gonna ask you about that. And the great thing is that you already provide information about what you know, because sometimes we go into an interview thinking, oh my God, what happens if that person asks me things that I don't know? First of all, let me tell you, if you don't know something, that's okay. You can tell a journalist, I can look for that information and give it to you. But most of the time, they're gonna ask you about the information you already provided. And then it's the great moment that you can shine, because you know that. Because first you probably are like a little bit blurry, but then when they start asking you about what you know, your product, you're gonna know, you're gonna see that you're gonna be talking and talking, and someone is gonna be like, let's cut it out, because you know we don't have enough time. So bullet points are very handy for this kind of situation, especially if you're the kind of person who get a little bit nervous in front of a camera or a microphone. Here is an example, even though it is in Spanish. This is a dossier or a press kit from a Spanish a company that they make sugars, and what they share in their dossier, in their media kit, it is the bullet points. In that bullet points, they are very specific. It's about a specific numbers of their company. Things like how many employees the company has, how many they have in a special during special moments in the year, when how much money they do, things like that. So again, depending on how long your business has been in, how many people work with you, those are important information. You know, reporters in the business segment in the paper, or reporters specialized in agriculture, are always looking for numbers that they can share with the audience about how much money does the general segment that they are talking about, but also how many jobs that kind of business can create. And that those are positive news that anyone who is in the business segment wants to share about the positive of economics. The blurb, the short bios. Leave the book, your biography, for the book. Sometimes we feel that we have to write everything about us, our life, how we were as little kids, things like that. You know, we just need just one important paragraph or two that talks about your background. When did you founded the company, or what makes you do what you do right now? So leave something for the interview. So you don't have to write a lot about you, just the very important things. If you were certified in something that are making an impact in your business, or you turn around, your life because you probably were working in something else. You were, I don't know, a banker and suddenly decided that you wanted to become a farmer, things like that. So those are things that triggers the interest of a communicator. So make sure that things like that are in that paragraph because it grabs attention. Also, if you have information about who's your team, that's important to also to include it. And you may include information, short bios too, of the other people who are part of your business, at least the key people in your business. You don't have to have everyone in there, but keep it short. In short, I mean 1 or 2 paragraphs. Here is another example of a press kit. It's another company. This is an incubator based in Spain, and what they do is they work with pigs, and what I wanted to show you here is that you can also share relevant information, not just with a paragraph or two, but you can present a graphic that also works very well. And if you are talking about the trajectory of your company, of your business, when it was founded, and relevant things that happened in the past few years, you can present that in a graphic, and that sometimes it can make it into an article, because sometimes a journalist would ask you for the graphic so they can reproduce it. So don't feel like you're wasting your time creating this great pieces of information. There are great platforms that I'm going to be talking about where you can do a very simple graphic very easily and very quick, like canva.com. I'm going to share that information later on. But this is another way you can share relevant information about your company, about your business, your business trajectory, and journalists appreciate that you are being very visual with that information, and not sharing blocks and blocks of text. The photos. Let's talk about the photos. It's very important that those photos that you send, or at least that you are putting together in your media kit, your electronic media kit, are of high resolution. Forget about the selfies. We're still receiving pictures of people with the selfie. You know that it was a selfie photo, things like that. So take a moment, and you know what? Put yourself together, show your best face, composure, your team. If you have an uniform and you want to show it, share a well done profile picture. Nowadays, you have in your hand great telephone, and a smartphone that it's great to, probably it's the latest version of, I don't know, maybe iPhone 20, and you already have it, and it takes great picture like any camera, any professional camera. But take the moment to, look into what is going to be the visual tone, where am I going to be photographed? Am I going to be sharing the photo with my team? It's just going to be me as the founder. Think about that. and look into if you're gonna take the photos with certain background, be aware of what is the background, because sometimes we don't pay attention of that, and we have, I don't know, a lot of traffic back in the background, things that are obtrusive, and then the editor and or the person who is putting together the layout is gonna be cropping whatever that anything that is noisy, visually noisy, they're gonna crop it. So be aware of that. So share a very good picture. If you have the money or you know someone, and I'm pretty sure that you know a professional photographer that maybe it's willing to do an exchange of, okay, I don't have the money to pay you necessarily, but I have some products that you may be interested. So you can do a business like that. Do not feel like if you're offering part of your part of the payment as with some of your products, that it is less of. No, that other person may have to eat in some point, at some point. So don't be afraid to ask for an exchange. But as a professional, if he can take a photo of you, and that will definitely will do it for your media kit. Also share photos of your products, and if you already sell a packaged product, take it out from the package, so the journalists can appreciate the content, because that is what it's going to grab attention. Be mindful about where those photos are going to be. That's why it's very important that the photo has high resolution. People are looking into photos are going to be looking at your profile photos, your photos in their telephone, their website. They're even going to take a look at the leader buttons in the web, in any paper or magazine website. So the photo have to be of great quality, so it is not pixelated. That is something that tends to happen when you have a low quality photograph, that when someone is trying to manipulate it, it gets pixelated, and sometimes an editor who is looking for quality content, not only what is written, but what it is, the visual thing, are gonna say, you know what, this photo doesn't work, so we're gonna leave it out, and probably they're gonna use a stock photo, things like that. Another things that I want you to think of when you're sending picture or sharing an archive with pictures of your product or you and your business journey, send from 5 to 7, but try to send a visual story. If you are a floriculture, a farmer who sells flowers in the market, for example, share the story, the before, the seedlings, things like that, the process of, okay, I'm gonna take, here's a photo of me holding the seedlings, or probably in the farm, how the flowers look like before they are harvested. If flowers, how can you use them in a vase, in your head, things like that. And of course, the package, the final package, how the flowers look when you are gonna be right before you take them to the market, you take them for the customer. Think about that, because there's a high probability that someone like me, an editor, said, you know what, this is a really nice visual story, and I'm gonna publish all the photos of it, instead of just choosing between 5 or 6, one from so many photos of I'm sorry, I have a little spasm in my eye. So so instead of sharing, 5 photos of the same angle, share a story about, your product travesty. I see. So be mindful of that. About the logos. Oh my God. The same happen, the same thing with photos, the same thing with with the logos. High quality. You never know when your logo of your brand, of your company, it's shared also in the story. So do not miss the opportunities. And by the way, I don't want you to forget that when you're sharing photographs, send them in color. Let the editor decide if they want to share the photo in color or black and white. You never know if your photo is gonna make it to the cover of the paper or a magazine. You never know. So if you send some of the photos, good photos, in black and white, they're gonna be inside, but they're not gonna make it in the cover. So send all the photos in color, and the logos the same. A high resolution, several formats, which is very important nowadays. They're gonna ask you to share JPEG, TIFF, PSD. So send them depending the regular format that they ask for. Logo options. If you have a logo, for example, what I meant about that is, for example, I have AgroChic logo, but the main feature here is the tomato, a pink tomato. So I have this or horizontal logo, but I also use just the tomato when something is vertical, or I just put the logo, and the logo has in each side the name of AgroChic. So I can use either way depending of the design. Sometimes it's easier, and it facilitates that it is added to the story. Again, if you feel like you don't know how to make your logo, or that you already have a logo but you are looking to make it even more interesting, consider hiring a graphic designer. This is optional. Logos can vary depending where you are, but can vary in prices. But it's always nice to have someone who knows about color, who knows about form, things like that, and to work with your concept and translate it into a great image. So you can use services like canva.com. We're gonna share that information if you don't know it yet. But Canva, it's great for doing logos, for create presentation. This presentation is created in canva.com. They have a freemium, a service that is free. And of course, they have their plus and premiums, depending on the kind of design that you're looking for. But definitely, I assure you that once you start using it, you can't stop because it's addictive. It is a great thing. You can create so many things. Let's talk about the images and some sound bites that are required for certain kinds of media. Like it is very important when you're sharing your media kit, who are you sharing it with? What is the main format that person, that journalist will appreciate that to receive the information. For example, if it's a podcaster, just audio, for example, they will definitely will appreciate that you share with them a high quality soundbite in case that you can't make it to an interview, or you feel so nervous to participate in an interview that you rather record yourself and then share a soundbite of 90 minutes. I don't know, you at least answering the basic questions of things like, oh, my name is, always answer with a complete sentence, stating your name, who you are, what do you do, what is the main, what are your main products, where are you gonna be, things like that. So like a minute or a minute and a half sometimes can make it into radio if the reporter is doing a segment in particular and they want to have at least a soundbite of the person. And also it works very well if you do it for TV too. Not everybody feels comfortable in front of the camera, and you can go into Zoom, for example, or ask someone that you feel comfortable with to take you to record a short video with the telephone, and you can practice, and record as many as you like, do some short editing and send it using the format of MP3 or MP4. Zoom is great. They let you, they have the freemium, and you can download the video as well, the audio, and depending on the kind of media that you're going to be sharing the content. But it gives you also that that opportunity, so you don't miss to be out of a great story. Always check the quality of it. So the characteristic of every element that you're going to be sharing with someone in media has to be something that grabs the attention of that journalist, because then that person can do a better work, so they can grab the attention of their audience. Be concise of what you're sending. Nowadays, you can have a media kit of 2 pages, and you're going to see that we're going to be doing that. We're going to start with that today. But when you're sending an electronic media kit, you don't have to send in another email the press releases or let's say the photos, and because sometimes that could be very hefty in that email. You can create in Google Drive, for example, and if you don't know about Google Drive yet, I can explain it little later on. But you can create this pocket, and in there you can add the photo, things like that, and then you can grab that link and then highlight the word in your document, in the document that you're going to be sharing via email, and then add the hyperlink. So it's very easy, and you can keep adding information. So you don't have to be worried about, oh my God, I have to send a long list of materials. No, you have to be concise. You can be brief in not only in each of the elements that you're sending, but also in the content. Share always essential information, not only in text, but also in the photos. That's why I told you, do not send more than seven photos at a stop, unless someone asks you for them. So you can always send 3, 5, 7. So, but make sure that those photos are of quality. Another general consideration when you're putting together your media kit, for example, consider to add your media kit in another language. Yesterday, when I was given this this workshop to people who speak Spanish mostly, I told them, you know what, consider putting together a media kit in English, because there are media outlets that their main language is English. Well, the same I told you, I'm gonna say to you, consider putting together a media kit in Spanish, because someone like me, even though I write also and speak English, I'm gonna be quicker if I read it in my main language. So sometimes it can help. And if you don't have someone, if you don't know Spanish, you can always find someone who definitely will be happy to help you out with this. Before sharing the media kit, taking the time to explore who is the person, who is the media outlet that you're sending your information. Not just because I have a media outlet focused in agriculture, means that I'm gonna be interested in everything that has to do with agriculture. So those are the things that you have to be aware of. Check what the journalists tend to write about, what the journalist is interested in, and that's gonna give you more insight, and also it will help you play with the spinning your story. You can have the same product, or you can have or share your story, but spin it very different with different kind of media outlets. So probably you're focusing in one thing that probably is not gonna be of interest to another journalist, things like that. So for that, that is why it is important for you to take the time to get to know you in terms of, okay, what is my message? Besides doing this product, this fantastic product, that people keep saying that they really like, but what else that you want to, what is your message, and how that message can be shared with different audiences. So for that, you need time to sit down, to write it down, to think about it and write it down, so you can definitely grab the attention for any specific journalist that you're interested in. So always explore first who is the journalist, what is the media about. It is a specialized magazine or paper, or it is a national paper, but it has the business section, that business section has an agriculture or food topics that they like to talk or write about in frequently, things like that. If you don't feel comfortable being in front of the camera, as I have mentioned before, consider asking someone of your team to be the spokesperson. This is something very important, because if you're going to choose someone, make sure that person represents your business, represents you well, and because it's going to be the go-to person. So sometimes we feel like, okay, we don't want to delegate certain things. So again, this is optional. That doesn't mean that, oh, you need a spokesperson for your business. No, sometimes, most of the time, you're the best person to sell your product, to sell your business. So if you need media training, things like that, practice are gonna make you better. So that is something that if you are not feeling, sometimes you feel that you are introverted or you feel uncomfortable, you can work with that. And a professional, a media trainer can work with you for that. Not everybody, not everybody are comfortable at first with a camera or a microphone, but you can be great at it if you practice. Another thing that is good that you should consider is once you have your media kit, consider having it in your website. If you don't have a website yet, you have to work in that. I know a lot of people who are depending on social media like Facebook, and they use it as their storefront. You know what? It is great to have it, but again, Facebook is not yours. When Facebook is down, your business is down, but your website, you control that. No one can put it down unless you don't pay your web hosting. So considering having your website at this point, and have a segment in the menu bar, in the bar menu, may I say, where you can put your media kit to be downloaded. For example, this is a magazine, agricultural magazine from Peru, and in their website, as you can see, I crop it here, but it says descargar, which is download. And you can download the media kit, and there is all the information. So it is easier sometimes to let people, the people who go and visit your website, they have that option. If you want to know who is downloading your information so you can follow up later, you can have a special document that they can write. Once they click on download, that document appears and they fill it in with important information, the name, who they are, and a contact, an email or telephone number. So you later on can check that and say, oh, during the August month, I have 20 people who downloaded my media kit, and let's say 5 of them were from a paper or a magazine, but I haven't heard about them. So you can call them or email them and follow up. So this comes handy too. And another thing, just because you know how to write, how to speak, doesn't mean you are the best person to write the press releases and put everything together. Sometimes we need help. And so consider hiring, again, a professional PR, a licensed PR. Here in Puerto Rico, there is the Association of PR, the PR Association. So, but also I guess I'm pretty sure that in Bahamas, in Virgin Islands, you can find professional associations of communicators that you can find someone that you may hire, or maybe you have in your group of friends someone who is doing publicity, things like that. You can also reach out to universities that have communication programs, because those programs have students who are looking for to be apprentices in different companies, or you can have a student who may do their apprenticeship with your business, and that is something that also comes very handy. I'm going to be sharing with you other resources in that area that, even though if some of them are in Puerto Rico, I'm pretty sure that if you reach out for I don't know, invite someone to work with you virtually, they're gonna say yes. Other consideration: collect your kudos, the good opinion, things that customers are saying about your products. Have a special document in your files with people saying how good your service, how good your product is. And have, if you're taking photos of those people in the market or savoring your product, ask for their permission and written and have the written permission. So you can use probably that photos and that comment in your publicity material, in your promotional material, things like that. So it is a good practice to have permission, to ask for permission first. You can create a document or a business portfolio. For example, here is my business portfolio of projects that I did during the 2020, and I have that that link on my website. And when people click on the link, the document takes you, the link takes you to this document which I created in esu.com, which has a freemium to use it. So I upload there information about what workshop I did, which with clients I work with, things like that, conference that I participated. So you can do the same with the markets that you have been in, awards that you receive. Not only have that file with you in your computer, but also share that, and don't leave it just in social media. Have it in a good in a good document and upload it to your website. And that link, you can also share it in your media kit, because then a journalist can know even more about your background and things that you have done. And so they have, you know, the meat of, okay, that person, even if their business is been around for a year, they have done so many things. So that definitely will keep validating you as a person, a knowledgeable person in your segment and things like that. Oh, very important. Use services like hightail.com, Dropbox, or Google Drive to send big files. When you keep adding information to your media kit, because media kit can be of 1, 2, or even 10 pages long, but photos, when photos are of high quality, high resolution, they occupy a lot of space. So when you're trying to send that file, it's gonna take forever sometimes. And some journalists use the address, the email address from their company, and sometimes, and like everything has a limited space. So sometimes you end up with a big document, and sending that email will take forever and even more to open it. And that would be something of deterrent for a journalist who's trying, you know, to write something right away. And if it takes a long time to open that that document, definitely sometimes they're gonna be, I passed this, I don't need this, and they go with sometimes with the e-piercing. So this is why this kind of services come very handy. Hightail.com, Dropbox, Google Drive. You can create a file in Google Drive and put there all the materials, like photos, like the business portfolio, things like that, graphics, and the press releases. And then you share the specific link in a live document that you can send and you can share. Here are 2 examples of press releases. We're not gonna go into how to write a press release, because this is a separate workshop, but here is, at least you're gonna have an idea of how people and organization use it and what they can share in that piece of communication. I always start with the most important thing and why, and everything. It is a pyramid, you know, of you start with the most important, the relevant thing, and then you leave in the last paragraph, perhaps, or information that if it's cut out, it doesn't matter because the most important things you already have them. In the press release, you share your contact information, a great title because you want to grab attention. So the titles are very important to think about. But and you're gonna have that in the presentation when Pamela sends it to you, so you can read some examples. Some press releases are from 1 page, and some, depending on the information, are of it takes 2 pages. Here is a great resource that I'm sharing with you from the National Sustainable Agriculture Coalition. They share very interesting information when you are writing your press release, what things you should take into consideration, like, use action-oriented verbs, things like that, highlight and quantify contribution, how does your operation benefit your community, things like that. So take the time to read this when you receive the presentation via email, because there's when you start writing putting together your first press release, or you're gonna need to have an example of how can you communicate better that information. This is a great resource that definitely it's gonna be handy for you. Here are some of these are organizations here in Puerto Rico, but I'm sure that if you also reach out to universities in your area and find out if they have, some of them have a communications department. They probably have professors who are helping their students to get an apprenticeship with real businesses. So definitely reach out to universities. For example, here in Puerto Rico, University of Sacred Heart, Interamericana, University of Puerto Rico. Also, those are universities who has communication programs. And again, I'm pretty sure, and if you use the contact through the World Central Kitchen, you can find great resources in case in your region you don't have someone, or I don't know, you are wondering, you don't know where to start. So you can always call us here in the island. We're very happy to help out. But reach out to universities, community college in your area, also professional organizations. Like I said, the PR, the Public Relations Association of Puerto Rico. Here we have many members that I will be thrilled to work with people, not only here in the island, but also in the rest of the Caribbean, the Virgin Islands. So do not hesitate to reach out. Garden Communicators International, which is an international, which is a professional organization that I'm part of, and it is focused in horticulture, but it has so many communicators from the green industry, public marketers, public relations, writers, things, professionals that are interested already in the food and in agriculture. And it is another resource that you can reach out, and I'll be happy to help out in there. And we have nonprofits. There are nonprofits that have so many resources. Here we have Colmena 66, which is it is part of the Science and Technology Trust here in Puerto Rico, and they have so many resources for the business community, but also they have created a focus help of, what's the word, they have put together a lot of resources specifically for people in the food and agriculture business. And before we take a short break, Pamela also sent you, and if you haven't received it yet, put in the chat your email, the editorial calendar. This is something that we in the media, we use a lot because we want to know what we are going to be writing, talking ahead of time. So the same, you should have one too. So I put together this template that you can print it at home or use it electronically. For example, for the next 5 months, where are going to be the farmers market that you're going to be participating, for example. So if you already know that you're going to be in September participating in certain markets, what are the events that are taking place in that same period? So you know that media is gonna be looking for resources to write their story, things like that. Fall season is coming up definitely in September, but also if you live in the Caribbean, and we are 6 months into the hurricane season. So we in the paper, journalists also are looking for stories related of hurricane season and how to be in a safety, how to be safe, things like that. A lot of things are written about food because you not only put your house, your belongings, your business, you want to put them in a safe position, but also you want to be safe in terms of food, that you have food for your family while there is an emergency. So if you have a business that has to do with food, definitely you can spin the angle and share with a journalist. You can have a pitch, can have a media pitch, but you have to be clear of that. So you can contact the right journalist, the right media outlet, so you can share it. You can send the media kit with that information. The same in October, November, things like that. In media, there are certain topics that you know a year before that they're going to be talking, they're going to be looking at some point. So try to see how your business, your product can be integrated in that. And that is why an editorial calendar definitely will serve you very well and should be included in your media kit. So we're gonna have a little break, and so you can download your media kit template, open the file where you should have your at least a logo if you have that in advance, or some images. And I'm gonna be showing some, I'm gonna be doing mine with you, but also we're gonna take this time to answer some questions, to definitely clarify some information, share here. One of the things that I always like to say is that save the chat, because in the chat there are resources that are shared and you want to have them to revise later on. Here's my website, my contacts in agrochic.com that you can explore if you speak Spanish, or you want to say hi, you can send me an email. And again, once you have your media kit done, please send it to me. I would love to connect with you too. Pamela.
Thank you so much, Perla, for that deep dive and all of the components that are implicated within our media kit. At this point, I've already shared a good amount of links in the chat. So I encourage everybody to check that out. As Perla was talking, I shared some of the tools that she has mentioned. For example, Canva. I also vouch for Canva. It is a great design tool. So I encourage you all to check that out in the chat. In Canva, you can design basically anything, a logo, a flyer, just, you know, the sky's the limit. So that is definitely a tool I should encourage you to check out. She also spoke about Google Drive. We're probably familiar already with maybe what a hard drive is, but nowadays a lot of different management platforms have evolved into creating these virtual drives. So that is a way to easily share, as Perla mentioned, big files such as high resolution photos, videos, and the liking. So those are ways you can actually attach that very valuable information to any document. And I think Perla is going to be showing that pretty soon in the demo.
Yes.
So now we're going to be moving into that demo pretty soon. Anyone has any questions at this point, we can definitely address them. I would definitely like to see you all, if possible, following through on this next portion of the presentation, since Perla is going to be actively showing you how to put together the media kit, what are the elements that you need. And so we sent you the template via email. You can check that out, download it if you want, and you can do step by step with us right now. So Perla, I think we don't have any questions at this point yet, but if you want to continue on.
Yes, looking into the chat, I saw that you share information about great useful tools for website creation. Definitely Wix, it's a tool that you can have in an hour, a website, at least the basic. Again, do not depend on social media to be your upfront store. I know probably you've been doing a lot of business, but again, it is a third party, and you don't own it. So that means that if Facebook is down, like it has happened in the past, your business is down, and your contact, your customer can't find you for several hours, things like that. And it's a lot of stress that you don't want to be into it. So take the time. I would say put a stop in the media kit and work in your website. Let me tell you, because it is the main things that you're gonna be also sharing in your media kit. You know, having your website address. So that's the heart of your business, because if someone wants to know about you, the first thing that they're gonna be looking into is the website. So definitely I encourage you to do it with Wix, Squarespace. I use a WordPress. It's it is a little bit challenging on the WordPress, but again, you can have a very nice, if you have the time, or you hire someone to help you out, definitely will help you out. Will be a very, it's gonna be of great help. And of course, Pamela shared the University of Virgin Islands communication program, and in the Bahamas too. So reach out for that. Call the operator in that in each of the universities, depending which region you are. As for the head of department, if they have the apprenticeship program in communication, as for that, you are gonna be like, oh my God, I didn't know I could have so much help with students, because they're gonna make a great difference. I've been having the help of apprentices for the past decade, and I keep learning so much from them. I don't feel all our. I always feel like, oh, okay, it's so many things that you keep learning, and you keep adding to your business. Okay, so if there are no questions, thank you, Lochner Timothy, for your words. I am very happy that Susie and Luck, thank you for your comments, and definitely I'm very appreciative that you find the tips on putting together the media kit together very helpful. So like I was telling, I'm gonna start sharing my actually I'm gonna open it because otherwise you won't be able to. This happened yesterday, so okay, I'm gonna open it. Okay, so I'm gonna start sharing here. Everybody can see my template. Okay, perfect. So as you can see, these are two PowerPoint pages. I love canva.com, which is great. So I also encourage you to check that out. But I was like, you know what, let me use PowerPoint, because sometimes for a lot of people still it is easier. So what I want you to do here is like when I was mentioning about the importance of having the logo or having a great photograph, a few photographs of you and of course of your business, your products, is because when you are manipulating that, and sometimes you have a cover that is going to grab the attention of someone who open up, and you don't want a small photo, and so you're selling in each point that you're sharing information about your company. You are in a selling mood. So the photo that is gonna be do the talking at first, and it's gonna be it's gonna open the door. So here we have the logo. We're gonna substitute the logo of World Central Kitchen with your logo. If you don't have one yet, you can leave there this one. But if you have it, you just grab it. For example, I'm gonna erase it, and I'm gonna call for my file. I have it already here open. So I'm gonna, a make-believe company. I'm gonna be a hydroponic farmer. But under AgroChic. So I'm gonna start playing with it. This is something that you want to have the time. So if you're not doing it right now, because again, this is an optional hands-on thing, you can ask our common question. You can also let us know about your experience. If you have been in the media, things like that, let us know. So I let my AgroChic logo here. So again, it will help me with the branding. It is always good that in the first page of your media kit, in the cover, it has your brand. So they can, the journalists can start relating the brand with you, with the product. When they think, for example, I'm gonna be I'm gonna be a strawberry farmer. So I'm gonna show you. So I want them to think every time that they think, oh, I want to write about strawberries. Who may I call? So they can start they relate the brand or the strawberries with AgroChic, for example. I do not, let me clarify, I do not sell the strawberries, but this is just an example. So this is why you want to have a high resolution photo so you can work when you spread it through all the template, it doesn't get pixelated. So that is something that you have to be aware of. So I'm gonna call the elements to the front. Here it is. One of the things that I also recommend, if you see here, is that I name the kind of document. So also the journalists know what are you sending? Or it is just a press release or it is a media kit. So I like to leave that, and I recommend you in some form in the cover. You mentioned the kind of document that you're sharing with. So here, and again, this is something that you can work with, or you can inspire. And of course, when you go to Canva or you use your own PowerPoint template that you like, you can use different models, but always include the kind of business that you are in. For example, strawberry farm. Here's an example. I'm gonna put it here. And the name of the business or the brand, La Fresita, which is the little strawberry that I gonna leave it in Spanish. And the website. This is why your website, it is important, because if you're gonna put the Facebook address, it doesn't look quite good as having your own website. So be mindful of that example. And then your contact information. And here in your cover, you're gonna add the information, the phone number of, probably could be your personal phone number, and not necessarily is the phone number where you receive the orders of your product. The same goes with the email. Probably you have a special email, a personal email, that so you don't want to be confused, or you don't want to miss that email in with all the emails of other kind of stuff that your business are that you have to deal with your business, like take emails that you receive of orders, things like that. And sometimes you have a lot of that, and probably a journalist is trying to reach out and you miss that email. So you want to have an email that or a cell phone number that is just for this kind of special occasion. And sometimes people share their private number just with a special people in the business area, like journalists, for example. So I have a very basic cover. So right away, it grabs someone's attention. If I sell, if I am a strawberry farmer, and definitely that's the kind of products that I want to highlight. So I want to show as big as possible the kind of product that I'm selling. If you are someone who has the popsicles, like our friend from Virgin Island, you want to show those popsicles and the variety, especially if someone at 5 o'clock, in a very hot day, receive and open their their screen, their email, they're gonna want to lick that screen because they're gonna be like salivated because the photo invited to that. So those are the things that you want to think about. That's why Instagram is so popular with food business and agricultural business, because you can show the product, you can show the process. So this is a very simple cover. And then we move to the second page. So the second page, like I was explaining, you should add here, you bring all the photos that are related. You want to keep, like you want to keep that journalist to be interested in what you're showing. So you can add more about the business. For example, if I am a farmer, a strawberry farmer, for example, hydroponic farmer, and besides selling my product in the farmers market each weekend, during the week or once a month, I host field trips, or may I say strawberry tours, so people can come to the farm, see how is the process of cultivating the hydroponics strawberries. But as part of that experience, you can also harvest that. So I have an image precisely about harvests. Yes. So I can bring that photo because it's a lovely photo and definitely it's gonna grab the attention. And I'm gonna make sure that in this document, I'm gonna be sharing that you can harvest when you visit the farm. You can harvest and you can taste an artisanal strawberry ice cream, things like that. And again, it is when you show a decadent photo of, like something that, oh, it is tasty, it is something that definitely will, the person who read it will say, you know what, this is something that our audience will be very interested to do. So you have a winner there. And you may be thinking, oh, but this is like a brochure. Well, yes, it's a brochure. It's like a brochure, but you can, the brochure is even more brief. Here, you're gonna be sharing links. So you can, for example, here, you're gonna do a very brief paragraph about your business, and then you can highlight, for example, when we were talking about adding more photos or having the link of the file, so the person once have opened the media kit, that person can go to the link and grab a photograph. For example, I'm gonna show you. If I have a file or I want that journalist to go to a certain page to look for more information about me, I'm gonna go here. I just highlighted the word and I'm gonna go to the hyperlink and I'm gonna write here or I'm gonna paste the link. And you're gonna do this with everything. So here, when the person goes to the paragraph area, or paragraph word, she or he is gonna click it and it's gonna take them to the document. For example, you can go into Google Drive. I'm gonna show you. Let's do that. if someone is not familiar with that. Okay. Let me. Everyone can see my. Pamela, can you confirm that you can see my screen?
It seems to be frozen.
Okay. Can you see me opening my Google Drive?
No, I think you might have to like reshare your screen because I think it's kind of stuck.
Okay, perfect. I'm gonna open that. Okay.
Meanwhile, I hope everybody is enjoying seeing this, but also, if possible, putting together their own, or at least trying to figure out where your elements, basic elements, are currently located, and you can start putting them all in a folder, really good photos, your logo.
Exactly.
So I hope they're already putting all those together.
So now you can see my screen, my Gmail, and you go here in all the Google applications, you open it, and you go to your Drive. Okay, here is where you can find all your file of different things. So I already put a file of World Central Kitchen, and in that file I have a lot of things, you know, from example of media kit, things like that, logos and photos. So this is something that you can create. For example, you can have your media kit in a Google Drive file. So you put there your photos, your logo, your press releases, everything that we were talking about, and you can create, for example, just a file of your media kit, and you can highlight that, and you can go here to obtain the link. And what you do, you can write here who do you want to send it, or you just can obtain, you copy the link, and with that link you can go back. You can go back to your document. Let me open that document again. Hold it. So it is that easy for you. So sometimes people are like, well, how can I share all that information within the within 2 pages? Well, this is how it is easier. And again, it's gonna be here. Here is, I'm gonna take another word here, for example, and I'm gonna insert a hyperlink. Here is, I selected it, I say yes, and then when the journalist is, you know, you give them the specific direction, like say, open here the whole media kit, so you can, so that person is gonna click here and they're gonna open that file that I show you in Google Drive, and that person are gonna be able to download all the photos that they want, the press releases, things like that. And just the people who you share that link with are gonna be able to download all the documents, and they will definitely thank you, are gonna be very thankful that you took, you were very mindful of, you know, of their resources, the availability of the amount of space that they have in their email, in their email capacity, things like that. So I'm gonna show you, yeah, this preparing a media kit and how good it can look like. I'm gonna show you a finished product that I had. Let me give cancel, and I'm gonna open up so you can see what I did. That sample. Okay. This is something that definitely you should take the time to finish, take the time to do it. I'm gonna start sharing again. Okay. Okay, this is the one that I did yesterday. Here is, I think it's the same that okay, I'm sharing the wrong one, but anyway. So I put together, I left the name of the kind of document, the photos that I wanted. You can write here or put your name. Be mindful about putting your social media also, and your physical address. That is also very helpful for any communicators in case they want to share information about how they can definitely be with participate in any kind of activity that you have in your farm, things like that.